So I am now checked out of my hotel. I got out in time, and I am on my way back to the house and leaving Miss Buckhead.
In half a mile, turn right.
Baby, I love you, Atlanta, but Atlanta is different. Like, mucho different. But what I'm hearing is Atlanta,
0.1 miles, turn right.
Atlanta has some of the most, as far as numbers are concerned, young black millionaires. And these millionaires made money off of real estate investments, YouTube, social media, and technology. And that is something that I am very interested in, because I, up to this point, have been a service worker. Service, not like, y'all know I'm a therapist, so that's a service. But what we did not learn and what I was not taught in grad school was how to run a business. And being a therapist, being a black woman, a daughter, was a people pleaser, that makes for pushover behavior. That makes for not knowing how to sell or feeling comfortable how to sell a service or packaging and things of that nature. And that's what I'm working more on in my business, is how to turn off the therapist hat and put on the CEO hat, so that I can profit. Because if you know anything about therapy, you know anything about, even, I'm not a social worker, but if you know anything about people who work in this field for a long time, you start out working nonprofit, community mental health, city government, federal government, things of that nature. So you're providing a service based on your salary, but you provide services to everybody, and you provide services to people who may not be able to afford the service. And that begets, even though that is definitely needed, it's welcomed in the field, and you definitely need services for people who cannot afford private therapy. You definitely need that, but you also get what you pay for. Unfortunately, there's a time and there's a space. There's packaging, there's tiers for every service that you have, and just going beyond that mindset is hard, coming from the work that I've done. I've worked in community mental health. I've worked in nonprofit services where you service everybody from the age of 6 to 99 years old, and with any type of diagnosis, or no diagnosis, or any type of issue. I've worked in a medical facility. I've worked in school-based therapy. I've worked in adult mental health. Adult mental health. I worked in home therapy. And
in 1 mile, exit right.
So it just runs the gamut on the amount of people that you see. So when you get into private practice, you realize that you need to niche down. You don't need to see everybody, and you don't need to see people who can't really afford your services, because it costs a lot of money to be able to do a private practice. I pay liability insurance every year. It's $145 a year. I pay for my license. I pay for my LLC. I pay for trainings, and that is really expensive. I pay for simple practice. Simple practice alone, and I'm looking at changing that, but simple practice alone is $75 for just me. Now, for somebody at just me, and I don't use all
a quarter of a mile, exit right.
And I don't use all of its features. That's a lot of money every month. my cell phone, my Wi-Fi, and there's some of the things I already use, but I never thought about having to put that in my break-even points until recently.
Right.
So yeah, so it costs a lot of money, and what that means is, for me, is I need to think outside of my therapy hat, and there's times where I haven't charged people because I said and insurance is another situation, because I accept insurance, but apparently there's so many different tiers to insurance, and even though you accept their insurance, you have to do the research to try to figure out how much you're going to get reimbursed from insurance, when you're going to get reimbursed for insurance, and if you take that set of insurance. So just because I take a certain insurance doesn't mean I take
in 1
that
mile,
part of your insurance.
exit left.
So that's the stuff I'd never learned until trial and error and providing free services, and even in a private practice. So I did not profit for a while for my private practice, and that's not going to cut it. If I'm not profiting, what's the business of me being even in there just to help people and not help myself? Now I'm coming out of that mindset, and it really begat a poverty mindset. And because I have a daytime job, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I have a daytime job that that pays my bills, that still does not matter. At the end of the day, if I'm putting in effort and time,
A quarter of a mile,
pay for it.
exit left.
Understood? So anyway, I am on my way back home, and I gotta make a couple of stops before I go. And yeah, so pray for my safe journeys as I go about, trying to
Left.
stay within the speed limit, because Georgia do not play when it comes to speed. And I remember a few years ago, it's been some years, I've gotten stopped in Bartow County, Cartersville, Georgia. And on my way down, before it started to rain and before all the traffic, there was a lot of state police on the road. So I'm watching my speed and about to put this phone down because it is dangerous. Do not try this at home. It is hands-free everywhere in the United States. So be safe out there for the Memorial Day. And I'm headed back up, and I'm hungry too. I wonder. Okay. All right, guys, I will talk to you when I get back to Nashville. Home sweet home. Get back in my bed. Shout out to my decorator, and shout out to my
Reported ahead.
To my house cleaner who came by and cleaned my house while I was gone and put together my my new desk chair. I just bought a new desk chair because I'm a CEO, and I needed a better CEO chair for my office in the house. All right, love you guys. Bye.